boys, this video will look at simplifying fractions. So far we've looked at what fractions are and writing equivalent fractions. So fractions that are the same but are in a different form. So a half is equal to 2 out of 4, or it's equal to 25 out of 50. They're all equivalent fractions. And we're going to be simplifying fractions, so taking fractions such as this one and putting them in their simplest form. And to do that, to simplify a fraction, we divide the numerator and the denominator by the highest common factor. So in the last topic, we looked at what the highest common factor is. It's when you have two numbers and you look for the highest common factor. So if we had 4 and 20, then the highest common factor of those two numbers would be equal to 4. So if I divide both 4 and 20 by 4, 4 out of 20 would become 1 out of 5. Alright, so let's have a look at some examples. Write each fraction in its simplest form by first expressing the numerator and denominator as a product of prime factors. Another of the skills that we learnt last time was last topic was to write numbers as a product of prime factors. And we can see by doing that, we can actually then cancel down to get our simplest fraction. Okay, so the first one's been done for us. So 4 out of 6 is the same as 2 times 2, which is its product of prime factors, and 6 is the same thing as 2 times 3. And you can both see, you can all see that they've got a common factor of 2. And so if we just cross that off on the numerator and the denominator, we simplify it down to 2/3. Let's look at an example with larger numbers. So 12 out of 30 as a product of prime factors. Think about 12. If we split that into 4 and 3, and then 2 and 2, it's going to mean that 12 is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 3. And the bottom, 30, is the same as 2 times 3 times 5 as a product of prime factors. Now we can see they've both got a factor of 2, so if we cancel out that 2, the numerator, all that's left there is 2 times 3, which is 6, and on the denominator is 3 times 5, which is 15. And so that is our final answer. So if we just express this part as 2 times 3, it's being left, and this is 3 times 5. Alright, one more, 6 and 30. Okay, so 6, we can write that as 2 times 3. And 30 we can write as, we've already seen, 2 times 3 times 5. In this case, they've both got a 2 on the numerator and the denominator, same with the 3. So all that's left on the top, we cancel out those factors, all that's left is a 1, because 6 of course is made up of 2 times 3, and if we times that by 1, that doesn't change it. So the top 1 is left, and on the bottom is 5, and so that's 1/5. Okay, so that's just seeing how this shows how we're allowed to, I guess, change the fraction by cancelling off prime factors. Well, let's look at a simple process now of simplifying fractions using the highest common factor. Okay, if we think about this first one too, in question 2, so simplify the following fraction by dividing the numerator and the denominator by the highest common factor. So 6 and 12, 6 over 12, if we think about the highest common factor, so what's the highest common factor of 6 and 12? We should be able to see that 6 goes into 12, so 6 is going to be that. So if we divide 6 by 6, then our numerator, so if we divide that by 6, it's going to give us 1. And if we divide 12 by 6, it's going to give us 2. So 6 out of 12, the same thing as a half in its simplest form. Okay, 40 and 50, so the highest common factor of those two, 40 and 50, with both ending in 0, knowing our divisibility test, they're both divisible by 10. And so if we divide by 10, then that's going to give us 4 on the top, and 50 divided by 10 is 5, so 4/5. This one's less easy to see. 27 and 39. Okay, so things that go into 27, well, I know that 1 does, 3 does, 9 does. Okay, what about 39? Well, there's not much that goes into 39. 1, 3, 13. So it seems like 3 is going to be the highest. So it's going to have a highest common factor of 27 and 39 is going to be 3. And so if we divide 27 by 3, we get 9. If we divide 39 by 3, we get 13. Okay, let's look at D, 36 and 84. Now it's worth noting, if you can't see that highest common factor straight away, what you can do is just divide by a number that you do know that goes into both. So if you start with small numbers like 2 or 3 or 4, then that could be one quicker way to simplify it down. So 36 and 84, it might not be apparent straight away what the highest common factor is there. And so rather than writing out long lists of factors, you could just do a process such as halving them, and that might help us to get there. So if we halve 36 divided by 2, we're going to get 18. If we halve 84, we're going to get 42. Now if we did that again, we halve them, 18 would be 9, and 42 would be 21. Now with those two numbers, is there any common factors? Well, 2, because they're odd numbers, 2 is not going to go in, but 3 goes into both of them. And so this would actually be the same if we divided the top and the bottom by 3. Divide 9 by 3, you get 3. Divide 21 by 3, you get 7. Now part E, last one. 45 divided by 25. So you notice the top is bigger than the bottom, but that doesn't matter. We can still find common factors and simplify it. So common factor between the top and the bottom, they both end in 5. So they'll both be divisible by 5. Divide 40 by 5, you get 9. And if you divide 25 by 5, you get 5. And that'll be it. 9 over 5. So that's simplifying fractions. Good luck.